Hey guys, it's Damien here from eBay Gore with another review of the Chucky series. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let us know what you think in the comments. Also, you can get us on Spotify, Google Music, Amazon Music, wherever the fuck you get Spotify, wherever the fuck you get your podcast from. We're there. Let us know what you think on social media. Facebook.com/eByGore. Insta and Twitter at eByGore as well. Enough with the promo. We are here to talk about Chucky episode 3, recently just aired in the US. But as we all know, where there's in the internet, where there's a will, there's a way. So just going to give a quick reaction to the show. Just watched it. So far, this series has absolutely blown me away. Don Mancini does not fuck up when it comes to Chucky. This series deals with the fallout from episode 2, where Lexi had dressed up as Jake's dying father for a Halloween party. Pretty sick shit. It's an awesome look at the ability that Chucky has to manipulate, which we've always kind of seen in the movies, but we've very rarely had a chance to look at it over a longer format, due to the 90-minute runtime and shit. Jake appears to have come around on this whole murder your enemies thing, but he's struggling to find the right time to make his move. Meanwhile, Lexi is still playing the ultimate teen bitch with an almost cartoony evil goodness to it. She kind of fake apologizes to Jake, but then asks him to give her Chucky so that she can then give it to her sister, who got really attached to the doll following the little convo they had in episode 2, which was awesome. Caroline, I think the sister's called. At first he says no, but then Chucky says, he'll do the deed. He'll kill Lexi for him. He just needs him to get Chucky inside Lexi's house, and by giving the doll to Caroline, it gives him access to Lexi. And that's the plan. Just so happens that Lexi's throwing this big party while the parents are at theatre, I think they are. And the main cast are there, barring Jake. You've got Devon, you've got Junior, you've got Oliver, and you've got Lexi as well as Carolyn and Chucky as well there. They're having a silent disco, which I'm about 5 years too old to really appreciate. I remember when they became a thing way back, probably around 2007, 2008. I remember being at Download Music Festival, which is a big festival over in Donington in the UK, if you're not listening from the UK. And they had this huge tent, and it was a silent disco tent, so you got your earphones, and it was the weirdest thing in the world just to stand there and watch people moshing and having an awesome time with no real music playing. It was crazy. So yeah, they're having a silent disco. We get the awesome scenes then, the really beautiful Chucky-esque moments where he's stalking Lexi and the other kids around the house whilst they're obviously distracted with the disco. Now, in this episode, it sounds really bad saying it because I know she's a kid, but I really wanted Lexi to get what she deserved. I know it's messed up, like I said, because it's kids, but fuck it, this is TV. And the fact that I hate the character so much is a huge compliment to, how do I pronounce that name? Olivia Lind, who is awesome in this series so far. She's absolutely fantastic, as is the rest of the cast. But I really wanted her to get what's coming to her in this one. I thought that dressing up as Jake's dying dad in the last episode was a bridge too far, and it was hard to see any real character arc for her coming off as sincere after what she'd done. But unfortunately, I don't get what I want, as Chucky instead takes out Oliver. Big surprise, especially as Oliver had done kind of a face turn, I think in episode 2 or episode 1, where he'd apologised to Jake. There had been some tension in the episode between Oliver and Junior, with Lexi seemingly playing them off against each other. So I can only assume that his death is going to throw some attention on Junior, with which will make a nice change from everything linking to Jake. So Maybe that'll be something that gets looked at in the next episode or beyond. Chucky does try and kill Lexi, but they fight, and somehow a fire is started and it spreads through the house. And there's this awesome shot of Chucky standing in front of the flames with the knife, threatening Lexi, which it closes out on. But there's also some really good shots of the fire spreading through the house, and while the kids are still dancing as part of a silent disco. So he corners Lexi in front of the flames, and just as interspliced with this episode, we get a cool look at the backstory of Charles Lee Ray. We've kind of got glimpses in the previous episodes, but we follow him from a kid at a really young age. He decides that he's a killer. That it culminates with little Charles helping a local serial killer murder his mum and dad. And then the serial killer kind of taking him under the wing a little bit and saying, you need to cover your tracks. Which kind of gives you a look into the relationship between Chucky and Jake. Because in this, Chucky calls Jake a pussy in this for not doing it. Even, for not stabbing Lexi in the garage in front of everybody. So it's interesting to see that Chucky was told to cover his tracks, yet he's basically telling Jake to kill Lexi in front of witnesses. So it kind of shows that Chucky really doesn't have Jake's best interest at heart, as we all know as the audience. But obviously Jake, being the character, is yet to find this out. It's a brilliant choice to go into the backstory of Chucky. I know that humanizing the serial killer is a huge no-no, and I generally don't like it. But Charles Lee Ray, easy for me to say, is a serial killer. And going on a backstory to a serial killer is always interesting, and learning about the motivation, and it adds depth to his cunning and his ability to manipulate. Just explaining that he was a born murderer, and it's not used to build any humanity or to humanize a character. It's used to really build him up as a threat in a way that the series hasn't had a chance to do before due to the 90-minute runtime. So all in all, I think episode 3 has been the strongest one so far. And bear in mind, I've loved the other 2 episodes so far. The characters are great again. They're given time to grow. Jake has evolved from this sort of insulated character struggling with an abusive dad, and his friends and peers' attitude to his sexuality. He's evolved into this kind of guy that's got this agenda and is working with Chucky and has let his hate grow for Lexi to a point where he's actually not just considering, but actively attempting to murder Lexi. He's building a relationship with Devon, which may or may not get romantic, depending on how this quest for vengeance turns out. But it's really interesting dynamic to see how everybody's kind of against him, but there's kind of a lifeline back to real life, or some glimmer of hope in the way that his friendship or possible relationship with Devon is evolving. I think it's great. Lexi is cartoony evil to the max, but we do get a scene where we meet her mother, who is the mayor of the town, which I didn't know up until now, and her father. They get dragged in to a meeting with the teachers along with Jake's aunt and uncle to talk about the bullying that Lexi's been doing with Jake. And the mayor, the mother, is kind of one of those mothers that, cannot possibly see the evil that her little darling is doing. So she starts attacking Jake until the teacher has a video of what she did at the party. And then they're kind of stunned into silence, and it's almost like a penny's dropping for the mayor. So it'd be interesting to see what comes of that in the future. I'd, all in all, I'd be really up for seeing Chucky chop her fucking head off, but it doesn't look like we're going to be going down that route. It looks like we're going to see Lexi humbled to maybe have that little kingdom that she's built crumble around her, and see her in a position a little bit like Jake's had to put up with for now. I don't know that for sure, but you never know. Also, a word on the physics of Chucky in the TV series. So in previous installments, every now and then, Chucky's had superhuman strength. He'll smack somebody and they'll go across the room, or be able to kill somebody with one swipe of a blade or something like that. You know, his limitations are usually relative to what the movie requires him to be able to do. So in the TV show, it's really refreshing to see Chucky have to work within the parameters of being in a doll. So, like the kill with the housekeeper, he had to push, and make her stumble onto the knives. Um, when he kills Oliver, he trips him, and then he has the knife and he's stabbing him in the back. But you can't just kill him with one, he doesn't have the strength to do it, he's a doll. So we see him physically having to stab him multiple times to kill him. Um, it's a really interesting way, just reading my notes here. All the kills so far that Chucky has been involved in have been realistic to the limitations of what a killer doll would be able to do. It's been really interesting. Even when he attacked Lexi, he's not strong enough to choke her out because he's a fucking doll. Of course he's not. And it's great that the show is doing that. It buys into the believability. I mean, I know it's a killer doll, but it does help with the suspension of disbelief. So time to to sum this shit up so far, it's phenomenal. Possibly the best thing to come out of horror this year. It's better than Halloween Kills. It's better than Candyman. Better than the Forever Purge. Don't Breathe 2. Definitely better than that fucking Wrong Turn abortion in January. I cannot recommend this show enough. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Go check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. I can't wait to come back and do episode 4 next week. I'm really looking forward to doing that. Don't forget to grab us on social media. Don't forget to check out the main podcast, E by Gore. We're currently in the middle of a Halloween series. So let us know what you think of that. Find us on Spotify. And yeah, I will see you guys on the podcast and next week.